going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today now with the next playthrough and video guide for the global nodes now being in Dark Dimension 5. These are the 5 characters that I have highlighted right here that I am utilizing to show you guys the playthrough, but as well, I'll quickly just go over their gear upgrades and so forth so that way you can see how high I've built in their abilities. So Dr. Doom didn't hesitate to upgrade everything, one of the best characters in the game. The fact that he has an ultimate that can heal and grant additional turn meter to the weakened allies, it's absolutely huge, and his damage is much appreciated. If you're able to bring him, even though he's a little costly, it's going to be a night and day experience just because I have seen other content creators commenting that not bringing Dr. Doom can greatly extend the number of turns that you need to actually push through. Next up, we do have actually Captain Sam here synergizing with the Secret Avengers, but you know, it's really beautiful in the sense that he provides turn meter, defense up, energy, just synergizing with the rest of the crew that we have. Costly on the skill gear material, but well worth it if you can bring him, and as well utilize every day in the Doom 2.3 raids. Sharon Carter, again, working in tandem with the Secret Avengers, but she's really going to be the main forefront for crowd controlling, having an ability block, a stun. Her baton strike basic attack also in raids reduces the turn meter, but unfortunately we won't get that bonus here just because it is Dark Dimension. But either way, regardless, it still adds value outside of the game mode in Dark Dimension. Lady Deathstrike now, this is one that I brought on last minute just because I need to utilize the gear and material I had, but you know, an absolute lock now because I am currently using her in my Doom 2 raids, but as well, the fact that she can self-sustain, she's got a basic cure that can actually reduce the turn meter of enemies. She's got some really potent abilities, just being able to apply a lot of bleeds to the enemies. And what I really like about her is her passive here, where each turn she does actually heal herself, and when she drops below that threshold, she does gain additional death proof and evasion. So in other words, she does have self-sustaining capabilities and she can keep herself alive, which is much appreciated, especially with these longer nodes. And then lastly, we have Maria here actually rounding out the rest of the crew with her supportive capabilities, shield care package, and being able to add healing and sustain to the team, but as well as being able to summon fellow troopers that can soak up damage with offense up, additional damage, so forth. So these 5 characters have worked extremely well for me. Let's dive right in now to the gameplay. Now, surprisingly enough, there is a little bit of RNG involved in setting up this node appropriately, because you guys will see that in this initial wave here, we're up against a pretty powerful combination. I was thinking if I need to maybe do a sacrifice attempt here, but the key thing really, you guys, is timing when the cleanses are being used. So right away, we see that Squirrel Girl actually uses her heal there and her sustain to actually cleanse. And the first thing we should be doing, if you have Sharon Carter, is stunning Black Bolt. Reason being is because of his passive damage, and we want to make sure that gets out of the way. Next up, you see me applying defense down with Maria Hill. They're applying it on Yo-Yo. And main reason for that is because Yo-Yo's passive, where we constantly get the offense down, and that's going to hinder us from doing additional damage, and as well as watching out for that Silver Surfer ultimate that lands on us. So if you guys have to do a sacrifice attempt with your team, maybe that would be a good time to just throw in some of your allies, because I am lucky in the sense that I do have Dr. Doom on my side, so I can heal up right away, getting the additional 3 turns. And as you can see, I added the disruption on Miss Marvel, so that way she can't taunt, and then resuming my damage here on Yo-Yo. So what's going to be very significant here, as you can see, Black Bolt actually getting out of his stun, but I did a pretty decent amount of damage. But man, this wave is just super tanky, even despite Dr. Doom's ultimate ability. You can see all of them still have a lot of their health. It's definitely a tricky node. Yeah, definitely just try to add some skirmishers around with those vulnerabilities to increase damage overall. But you can see there, fortunately, Morto's special ability doesn't really land too much on us, with only heal blocks on both Maria and Sharon Carter. So using the additional speed increase from Dr. Doom, I'm just allocating damage accordingly. But it's nice because we do have Maria Hill now with the ultimate, very timely, adding deflets back to our Secret Avengers, and now we're in a pretty good position. We see some quite a bit of negative conditions being inflicted on our enemies here, so a great time to actually just keep applying that. I love that about Lady Deathstrike, because she does bring on a lot of DPS with her bleeding, and as well as her being able to actually reduce the turn meter too. So again, we're going to continue our focus here on Yo-Yo because of her damage reduction from us, and if we have that, we're going to get her out of the way. Also, she's one of the squishier enemies actually on this wave, so that's why it's important to be mindful of that. And as well, Squirrel Girl having the cleanse, so that's something we need to be mindful of constantly. Thankfully, she used it from very turn 1, so we can kind of keep track mentally, but it's a very short cooldown as well. And you can see here, the reason why I really highly recommend Sharon Carter is you can see that in the span of about 2 turns, we got to actually stun Black Bolt twice. Now, I can't say how important that is because if you're trying to do a really meaningful first attempt here, stunning Black Bolt twice in that duration is just going to keep your team alive. And as well, now you can see all these negative effects really kind of sticking, and it's going to be impactful here with all the bleeds. That being said, Sharon Carter really is the MVP of this wave. As you can see, I knew that Squirrel Girl is going to get her cleanse soon, so I went ahead and ability blocked her, still with the stun Black Bolt, and we continue doing our work on Yo-Yo, and she is going to likely be the first one that falls, and that's in a really good pace here. So again, took a little bit to get the luck just right, a few tries, but for sure, once you have this going, with Black Bolt being slowed a bit, Yo-Yo being close to down, and as well as Squirrel Girl being ability blocked, it puts our team in a really good position to kind of sustain ourselves and slowly take down the enemies. We finally take down Yo-Yo here, so our damage now is going to be maximal. And who I would recommend at this point is a couple targets, right? If you can continually keep stunning Black Bolt, then he won't be an issue. But at this point, you can see here, Silver Surfer's likely going to get his abilities back again because of his speed up. So he's a good one to take down. But as well, another good one is Miss Marvel and Mortal, just because they have supportive capabilities for the team. And if they're taken down sooner rather than later, they can definitely improve your pace that you're going with this. Yeah, as you can see, the key really is ability blocking Squirrel Girl, and now we have Miss Marvel being taken down, Black Bolt still stunned, and this is a really good place to be. We can kind of see how much damage we're doing now, and we're slowly just taking them down slowly but surely, and that's how you really want to manage this wave. Now at this point, Lady Deathstrike once again coming in clutch with her damage. Just see how influential she is. Down to 3 enemies here, so we're in a great place to be, finishing off the damage dealers in Black Bolt, and really at this point, taking your time and building up energy in preparation for the next wave. And honestly speaking, this wave is definitely nothing compared to the last one we just faced. They're essentially a mixture of the Wakandans with Black Bolt, Yo-Yo once again, that combination. And then once again, we want to make sure that Black Bolt is stunned if possible, just because he does a lot of damage, and preventing him from making those moves on us is a great way to sustain this battle. Seeing as my allies were a little weaker, I always like to refresh Mariel's Hill ultimate here, especially since we're going to get energy back from Captain Sam anyways, and again, control this wave. Now, when we get a chance to actually utilize Sharon Carter's crowd control here, try to use the ability block on either Hawkeye or Shuri. That way we can slow down their supportive capabilities. But you can see here, our bleeds and everything is just doing some really good work on Black Panther. He's going to be taken down here shortly, and we just really kind of work our way down, aiming for the damage dealers, but always keeping in mind that focus on Black Bolt. And as our guys just do damage here, weaken them over time, Black Bolt's going to fall here next, and then that's ideally going to leave the 3 characters in Shuri, Hawkeye, and Yo-Yo being a lot weaker, and giving us time once again to build up energy in preparation for the next wave. Now, what's a little sneaky here is the fact that 16 out of 28 enemies is when the next wave spawns, so try to get the last enemy. In this case, for my situation, it was Hawkeye. Try to get them as low as possible, because you're going to see this next cluster being very significant, containing a couple of healers in both Squirrel Girl and Shuri. So that's why I really like Lady Deathstrike coming into play here, just being able to add that bleed and turn meter reduction, but Captain Sam using his ultimate to boost up our speed, and we're really just trying to get our abilities here ready to go in terms of the crowd controlling aspect. I highly recommend crowd controlling Squirrel Girl, just because she does have the cleanse, and that's something we need to be mindful of. I think this is where some folks will have a hard time with this node if they don't have Dr. Doom, because just the sustain he provides. And in this wave, especially how compact it is, this is a perfect situation to not only apply disruption using the Doom clones, but as well as having a very extremely powerful special ability here. And you can just see how impactful that is, especially across all these waves of different enemies. And then as well, Lady Deathstrike with her ultimate and special. Just look at all those beautiful bleeds getting applied and just absolutely crushing this wave right now. 14 out of 28 enemies left. She gets the additional turn meter from Dr. Doom. Again, we're looking pretty unstoppable right now with all our defense ups, our buffs, and as well the enemies having all those negatives against them. Now, as shown, if you're able, try to take down the healers in Shuri and as well as Squirrel Girl, just because they are disabled. That's really going to be the key difference in this wave, right? But you can see we took down a lot of that right cluster there, leaving some of the tankier enemies. I like leaving Mortal and Miss Marvel, and as well as M'Baku for the end, because they are pretty weak enemies. And Okoye is not great either. Yes, they got reworked a little bit, but I don't believe this rework would have kicked in for Dark Dimension 5. It would have happened after the fact, so these guys are still pretty low level if we think about them being in the OG days. There we go. And at this point, if you're able to leave these 3 here, they're a great mix. The reason I left Squirrel Girl is because I realized that she's tanky, she's got a heal, and that really gives us the really good opportunity here to actually generate energy. Anytime you leave a healer as the last character, very, very fortunate for us, especially when we want to build up for the last and final wave. As we finish off Squirrel Girl here, being the second last one, you're going to find the early surprise again, similar to the last wave where this last final wave does spawn. And this honestly was not what I was expecting, so hopefully you guys are watching this video before you attempt this, but this wave actually does wipe me. We see this combination of Silver Surfer, Magneto, Hawkeye. This combination is actually quite powerful, and as well as Jubilee being on their side. And what I really truly wasn't expecting was just the raw amount of damage these guys could do. So I'm obviously going in with the mentality that we're going to wipe these guys and finish it with a one-shot attempt here. I go in with the mentality here, as you can see, a stunning Black Bolt, same per usual as the previous nodes. Fortunately, my Lady Deathstrike is stunned, but I go ahead, apply the speed up. Everything's looking pretty good, but what we didn't anticipate was just high damage output characters such as Magneto and as well as Silver Surfer. So going ahead, I did ability block Magneto there just to try to do some work. And maybe honestly it was just some bad luck, but we can see Jubilee actually using her special ability, and you can see that's gonna be the start of the end here for me. My Lady Deathstrike just completely got wiped. They're starting to do some pretty crazy amount of damage. Hawkeye gets his abilities on me. I am able to use Dr. Doom's ultimate, so you bet I wanted to take advantage of the turns here and really unleash the wrath. And this actually does some really meaningful damage here. As you can see, 7 out of 28 enemies remaining, so we're looking really, really good here for the one shot. But what I wasn't anticipating was just, never underestimate how powerful Silver Surfer is, right? You're going to see his abilities come to fruition here. And unfortunately, with my Lady Deathstrike down already, the ability block on Captain Sam, this is really going to be the start of the end here for my team, even despite the fact that we did some really meaningful work here. At this point, if you also see your team kind of slowly falling apart here, try to take down the damage dealers as you can, because the big thing to consider here is once you go back in for another attempt, which enemies do you want to be up against, right? So I wouldn't want to be up against the Silver Surfer, and as well as Jubilee being quite squishy. That's an easy win that you can get her out of the way here. The other one to be mindful of is Black Bolt, but fortunately he's slow. But what hurts us a bit is the lack of focus on Yo-Yo, but that's because we strictly need to focus on Jubilee. So you can just see how hard these guys are hitting with their passives. I feel like at this point it was just a mix of bad RNG and luck for me getting to this final wave, and I had all my abilities ready to go, but it was just bad timing. The fact that my Lady's Deathstrike was taken out so early really hurt us, because she does a lot of damage for my team, right? So at this point, I got 3 allies left. I made a realization that there likely will be another attempt here, especially with Silver Surfer slowly generating his abilities. At this point, trying to conserve my energy, I'm just going ahead and using basic attacks. Unfortunately, to my surprise here, I was unfortunately unable to one-shot it, but then I knew that the follow-up was going to be a guaranteed 2 attempts here. So going ahead, the obvious one here is just finishing off Silver Surfer, doing what we can against him. Don't be afraid to use Captain Sam's abilities, because especially the speed up one, we don't want to underestimate how powerful Surfer is, and you'll see that if you drop your guard, he can likely still wipe an ally or two. So we definitely don't want to be in that position again. The one thing to be considerate here of is Dr. Doom's ultimate, because we need that for the next node, and so try not to use his abilities there, but it's okay to use the offensive capabilities that you see here. Once Surfer's down, we're going to be in a much better spot, because we can once again just farm slowly here and gain energy in preparation for the last wave. There we go. Black Bolt goes down, finishing off M'Baku. Leaving Yo-Yo is a good idea, because like I said, generally if you're especially in the very end of a node, you want to leave the healers, so that way you can really take your time, generate the basic attacks energy again, and it's just a good strategy to have to main practice, right? This can be applied to Scourges, this can be applied to raids, but this strategy is always good just because we always want to be mindful of what's next. And there you guys have it. That is the completion of this node now, officially node 8. So the second last one, now we just have one more to go for the global nodes, and then it'll be on to cosmic. So again, just to refresh and show you guys here the damage output, 2 attacks, 62.55 million first attempt, and then wrapping things up and getting our energy ready to go for the last and final global node. So there you guys have it. Hope you enjoyed this quick and brief video. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.